Hello, I am Honest, and today I'll be showing off my real-time graphics project. I'll be going one by one by the criteria just to make sure I get the highest grade. Right now, criteria 1 is the framework itself and its movements. So first of all, I'll show off the object manager. Zoom out a bit. Yeah, I have 3 objects in the scene. Ground, cube, and cube 2. Ground, move up and down, back and forth, all the simple movements. Now for rotation, I do need to have some sort of angle for it to work. And there's also auto spin. And I can do the same for all objects, auto spin. I was unfortunately able to get it so they don't share some of the variables, so like the angle, they don't have each have their own angles, so they might straight away flip when I switch between objects. Nor can I have one individually spin from each other if I swap to a different object. It's on the actual object that I selected. I do also have camera parameters, which is just a spline camera, which is the extra 85 plus. And this just goes around my cube and infinite loop. That goes back if I turn it off. There's also lighting. I have 2 point lights that I can move around. It'll be easy to see on this cube. But the first one, if I move the y-axis, goes up and down, changes some lighting in the area. You can still see the point light there. But I can also switch to the second point light. And if I move up and down, again it changes different lighting settings. I can also then change colors for them. So one can be blue, purplish, and then the other can also be greenish. The actual material color there can be changed for you. If I do second noticeable, that can be changed. There's a bunch of different like settings just for lights. They all have their own purposes. For global light, you can kind of see it, but it's really hard to see it unless I do the next points, which is null mapping. For null mapping, I have a shaders parameters. So basic shaders is just this. 2 point lights. In null mapping, I did not include the 2 point lights. I did not have the time for that. But when I click on it, it changes to my null map. And it has some of the applied lighting from the first point light. And the second one. With this, I do have a texture manager where I can change to a forest, stone, and then I also have another texture normal. It's a very low poly one, so it looks fine on this, but sometimes there can be like black lines. At least I think it's due to how low poly it is. Yeah, at least for this example, it looks pretty nice. Then in the actual null mapping, I think that's about it. In terms of requirements I met, I feel like I applied a couple, which should be pretty good to meet a higher requirement. They change in terms of like the crevices. If I go on like one of the cubes, it's pretty good. Tone is even better to see the different shades. But yeah, that's the null mapping side. For post-processing, I was able to do 3 effects. Well, 4 counting render to target. As you can see, it applies my 3 cubes to a texture. Since they were had null map on and had the stone texture, they had that applied. If I change it to a forest, I change it to a forest. If I change it to a brick, it changes to a brick. It does unfortunately also apply to the actual object. I don't know if you could like have it. It might be quite intensive though to have it so this is like just a normal. There's no normals in this, but then the actual texture that's displayed does have normals. I then also have effect screen textures, which I have grayscale. I have box blur, it's a bit blurry, and then I have attempted doing a depth blur, which let me get the other stone. It's when you're close, it's kind of better. There seems to be some sort of blurring going around. It's hard to tell though, it doesn't feel as good as it should be. If I go far away, it's quite blurry. Zoom in, and it's like getting clearer. There's still some probably like math calculations I really should do. I've tried doing linear depth, I don't know if that's required, but the current one I don't think it has applied. Then for the first shade and lighting, I feel like I only made like a good attempt at it. I could not get it to fully work. I do have like the G buff on the right side. Oh sorry, I'm still applying this. There we go. On the right side you can still see the G buffer with the scene color, normal mapping, and then the world position. That all works fine as in terms of G buffer, but in terms of lighting on the deferred shading side, it seems a bit not correct. Let's see if I can. I will quickly reset the program to show you how it should normally look. If I do deferred shading, there we go. It does have a light which can be moved around, but it seems to be a bit reverse in terms of like basic shaders here, but at least here it seems that it goes behind it. It's hard to, I don't know where my calculation might have went wrong, but at least I feel like I did a good attempt at it. And I would love to do get that working and defer the lighting, but just have not enough time, unfortunately. I think that's about it in terms of explaining the program. Like, there is some extra stuff, of course I did. I have hull and domain shading, so for the wireframe. Just turn on basic wireframe, and then if I do hull and domain shading, it does this one. I only display one for it, so this is the one I chose. I don't think it meets any of like the grid requirements. It's more like an extra thing to do. So it's like this fill state, and I think everything else is like lighting, different positioning, object movements, different shaders. You can play around them. I will quickly go back onto my deferred shading. Yeah, there seems to be like a little problem sometimes when I go wireframes and fill states. I don't know why, I couldn't fix it in time either. But for deferred shading, I can click this button and get rid of the side pop-up. I can put it back on. It doesn't impact the actual program or like how the deferred shading works. How it works is there's 4 viewports. One is full screen and then 3 extras for these side panels. And then when the quads get drawn, they get drawn to the viewports. So top right, for example, this one, and then it'll apply the texture over the quad. So these are 3 mini quads. viewports. I have heard maybe there might be a better method of doing it, since it does feel it impacts the program quite heavily, and it could also just be my passes as well. Actually, there's just nothing really here that I think applies to great, just FPS, and then you can sort of just MQU stuff. And I think that's about it in terms of actual artifact. We'll talk about now how I feel like I could improve them this semester, and just did maybe some other stuff better, or I wish I could have done. I didn't mention the third shading. That's just a bit unfortunate that happened. It didn't work like I intended it to. I don't know. It's just at some point I did not have enough time with my other module, and I could not get it fixed fully. I do have clues in terms of actually probably fixing it if I could. If I had more time, I would have been able to do it. And then, of course, I would have moved on to do the third lighting and just had both of them. In general, like textures and stuff, I had to do a little bit of research in terms of like sizes, since that can be very important when you apply a texture to something, and it could be smaller, to save on performance. That was some like extra research I did. I also looked into most of the stuff I did for the artifact, from the depth blur to box blur, grayscale, whatever it may be. I had a little bit of looking online. Even if I didn't get like an answer, it might have been able to push me along the way I needed. There's of course some other stuff I just didn't really need online help for. I was like movement, I was just looking through the framework, understanding how that worked, and just to make it nice for whoever's testing it. And for myself, of course, I personally really like using MQE just to make testing easier. Not need to press any keys or anything like that. Camera stuff, I do see that's on the framework, like if you can move the camera stuff, but that was done, like it was built into the framework, so I don't know if that bumps me mark wise anywhere. I did not touch this at all. The only improvement I would say that could be done would be maybe Q and E, where pressing Q or E, it will go up, like from I'm looking this way straight, and then it just goes up. That's something I feel like would be nice for actual camera movement. For normal mapping, I feel like it might not be just normal mapping, just more texture-like stuff, where I could apply, like say this cube in here in the middle, I could apply a brick normal texture and then a forest. Why not? But then on this one it'd be something else. Unfortunately, I was able to get it working, so it all I get applied, but I couldn't get it to work so that they each had their individual like normal maps, stuff like that. For post-processing, I saw stuff online about it in terms of like what you can do with it. There's like a lot of just funky little post-processing you can do, like make it look like sort of like lower res, like a PS1 sort of style cube, for example. I've seen that. I even tested it myself and it looked pretty nice. I didn't apply to the actual program here because it would have been just there. It was like a code piece. I just want to see how it would look. For the first shading and lighting, like I mentioned, I wish I could have had more time on it, but stuff just kept coming up. It kept getting pushed back, and it was the hardest thing I feel like this semester for me was doing the first shading. I had many problems with it. It just did not want to work for me. It was the longest thing I took this semester, and I'm just a bit unfortunate I couldn't come back to it and fix it a bit more, but it was nice looking at it. I was supposed to test it with like multiple lightings, like 50 lights, let's say, just to really push it and see what maybe like the FPS differences, or just me like, yeah, it does work. But I just, again, unfortunately I had no time, but that's how I would personally test it, to make sure it's working properly, just doing multiple lighting. And I think that's about it, and some improvements. There might be some other minor stuff I think of, but like it's nothing that really much here. Yeah, okay, thank you.